So I'd like to give you a really simple technique for tapping into intuitive intelligence. And this is really powerful for knowing the right step forward, the right path to take, or the right decision to make in your life when you're just not sure of what to do. And what I'll point out right now is that in a lot of cases, the logical, rational mind is actually not the right tool for making decisions when it comes to moving forwards in a certain direction in your life, whether that's deciding whether or not to enter into a certain career, which topic to major in university, for example, whether or not to continue playing basketball, which a lot of our older players are considering right now. Whether or not to enter into a relationship with somebody, whether or not to end a relationship with somebody, the logical mind can go on and on and on and on and on, considering and reconsidering the data. And there's this beautiful scene in one of my favorite shows, Big Bang Theory, that illustrates this perfectly, where one of the main characters, Sheldon Cooper, if you've never seen the show, it's absolutely hilarious, but he is like super genius in terms of the rational mind. He's a theoretical physicist at Caltech. And so being the super genius that he is, a lot of the other areas of his mind are kind of stunted socially, intuitively, and so on. But his rational mind is so strong that when it comes time to make this one little decision about whether or not to buy I think it was like a PS4 or an Xbox, he agonizes over this decision, and the entire episode he's going back and forth listing the pros and cons of each one. And at the end of the episode, he's sitting in the store with the two things in front of him, sitting on the floor with his head hung down, going like, I just don't know what to do. And the storekeeper comes up to him, the manager comes up to him and says, I'm sorry, we're closed. And so he ends the episode, and there's a lot of like really, really funny stuff that happens along the way, but he ends this episode not having made a decision because he's completely reliant on his rational mind. And as I said, the rational mind can infinitely consider the variables and the pros and cons, but this sounds good in this way, and this sounds better in this way, but this has this drawback, on and on and on it goes. So the rational mind is most often not the best tool for the job, as I said. What is shockingly reliable once you tap into this is your intuitive intelligence. Intuitive intelligence, this is a critical point to understand, exists in the body, in the physical body. If you think about all of the natural processes that are going on within your body right now, your lungs are inhaling and exhaling oxygen, your digestive system is metabolizing food, your heart is pumping blood to all of your limbs, all of your internal organs are working in unison together. There are all of these incredibly intelligent processes happening without our conscious control. We're not like consciously, pumping our own blood to our limbs. That's just happening through the intelligence of the body. And so in the same way, our intuitive intelligence exists as intelligence of the body. It's literally a force of nature. Once you understand this, understand that the body, shockingly, and the more that you do this, the more surprising it becomes. The deeper I go into this, the more it feels like this master key that just always knows the right thing to do. The intelligence of the body knows. And so to tap into the intelligence of the body, which knows the right path forwards, really simple technique is to sit down and still the mind. So you can do this at the end of a meditation practice. You don't want to do it when your mind's like really jumpy and full of thoughts. You want some clarity up here and some stillness up here. So maybe at the end of a meditation practice, you can sit down and ask yourself between the two variables that you're considering. Maybe it's, do I want to play for this particular team this year, or do I want to take the year off? And this is something that one of our players is considering. And so consider both of those options and feel, don't think, feel, how do they feel in my body? What you'll notice is that one of the options creates this sort of sense of opening, as though the body is literally opening towards it. It's opening up to that option, and you should feel this sense of expansiveness, maybe a little bit of brightness. It's a feeling sensation, it's not a thought. The other option will typically feel a little bit more cloudy. Maybe there's some contraction in the body. There's something in you that's resisting it, that doesn't really want to go there. It's like, no, that doesn't feel quite right. And one of the wisest things a teacher told me, literally in my life, like this is one of the most useful things, I think, and it's so simple. If it's not right, if it's not 100% right, then it's wrong. So we don't actually have to know why. And most often we don't know why until we follow the path that feels right and find out later on. In the moment, our rational mind most often can't figure out exactly why we're getting this signal. It's like, no, but that doesn't make sense. Like, why would that be? We find out later on. So it takes this sort of leap of faith and trust in your own intuitive intelligence. But when you trust that intelligence, people talk about trust your gut or follow your heart. This is what they're actually saying. Follow the deeply innate intelligence that's already within you, but gets clouded by too much rational thought. So once again, sit down when your mind is in a still place and feel, how does this feel to you? There's an opening towards one option, there's a closing towards another option. Even when your rational mind can't quite make sense of it, if you follow the option that you're opening to, in almost all cases, in my experience, this is like flawless, okay? The better I get at actually reading the signals, and it's not easy sometimes, like in a lot of cases, you're still not sure, and you've got to sit down again. But in a lot of cases as well, the signal is really clear. And it's just a matter of allowing your mind to relax and just trust that intelligence, okay? So this is very powerful. And the last thing that I want to point out here, I know this note's getting a little bit long, but this is super important, okay? Intuition is not emotion. Intuition is not emotion. So you might feel like some fear towards the, players will ask like, well, what if I'm resisting something because I'm just like being lazy or I'm afraid of it? No, intuition is different, okay? So the option that you open towards, you may still feel some fear actually, or you may feel like some form of emotion. It could be anything, frankly. It could be happiness and joy and relief and great. It could also be fear. But the intuitive intelligence will show you in your body if you feel opening towards it, like you're being pulled in that direction. Follow it in the face of the fear. On the other hand, if you feel a closing off towards something and yet your mind wants it, like it's craving it, almost like some junk food or some sugar, but I want to go down that road, there's two things at play. There's the craving sort of feeling, and there's the closing off. The closing off indicates not to do that. So intuition and emotion, two totally different things, often confused by a lot of people. And that's why I see a lot of experts actually, or so-called experts, saying like, don't trust your intuition, follow your rational mind. And it's a confusion about what intuition actually is. Intuition is literally the intelligence of nature at work inside of you. Deep intelligence, far beyond what the rational mind is capable of. And actually, this gets a little bit esoteric, but it's not bound by time and space. So we can get into that in a future episode. Maybe it's a little bit deeper than this, much deeper than this. But in any case, try this technique. Sit down with your mind in a still place and just feel, where do I open towards? What am I closing towards in my body? Emotions aside, thoughts aside. Where am I opening? Where am I closing? If you have the courage to set your rational mind down and follow the intuitive intelligence and where it's guiding you, you will be shocked at the results. This is the closest thing to like a master key for life that I think I've ever come across, where it's really that simple. You just ask yourself, what's the right move in this circumstance? You don't need to ask other people. You don't need to ask your mind to figure it out for you. In some cases, you can't quite tap into the intuition, and maybe talking with somebody is a good thing. Maybe tapping into what your mind thinks is a good thing. But in a lot of cases, it's just a matter of dropping in and asking yourself, what's right? You already know what's right on a deeper level. All you need to do is access that deeper level. And this is a technique for doing that. So I hope that this helps you out. I know a lot of players are considering big decisions in their life right now, so I think this will be timely. Let me know if you need any help. If you have questions, ask them in the forum if you're a Deep Game member. If you are not a member yet, just shoot us an email and we'll do our best to help you out. All right. So once again, signing off. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Hey, it's Taylor. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, the best thing to do right now while it's fresh in your mind is to head over to deepgame.com and join us in our free masterclass. Now, this is where you'll learn all 8 laws of the deep game and all of the fundamentals that you need to know about the part of basketball that's played with the mind. We've had players call this the best hour of basketball learning of their lives, and it's completely free right now. So head over to deepgame.com to join us, and I will see you there.